Dear students, welcome to the UGC lecture series on botany. The topic for today's lecture is general account of gymnosperms. Let's first introduce the topic. Theophrastus coined the term gymnosperms in 300 BC. The word gymnosperm has been derived from two Greek words. Gymnos means naked and sperma means seed. Gymnosperms are those seed plants in which the sporophylls are aggregated to form cones and the seeds develop in exposed state over the surface of megasporophylls. Gymnosperms occur mostly in colder parts of northern hemisphere where they form extensive forests. Cycads occur in tropical and subtropical areas. Welwitschia grows in African desert. Ephedra grows in arid areas. A number of gymnosperms are now grown as ornamentals. For example, species of Thuja, Araucaria, and Ginkgo. Gymnosperms evolved about 400 million years ago as cycadophylicales or pteridosperms. About 200 million years back, gymnosperms formed the dominant vegetation on Earth. However, later they were replaced by flowering plants or angiosperms. Today, there are only about 1026 living species of gymnosperms in the world, including about 615 species of conifers, which forms the most dominant group of gymnosperms. Plant body of gymnosperms is a sporophyte, which is differentiated into root, stem, and leaves. They include perennial trees and shrubs. Some gymnosperms are woody climbers. For example, species of Netum. The smallest gymnosperm is Zamia pygmea, which reaches a height of about 25 centimeters, whereas the tallest gymnosperm is Sikiova sempervirens, reaching a height of about 110 meters. Many of the gymnosperms live for more than 4,000 years. For example, some species of Pinus. Gymnosperms possess taproot, which provide proper anchorage. In many gymnosperms, roots form a symbiotic association with algae. For example, coralloid roots of cycads, or they may form symbiotic association with fungi. For example, mycorrhizal roots of conifers. Stem in gymnosperms is erect, aerial, and woody. Early stem is underground and tuberous in cycads. Stem is largely unbranched. For example, cycas, but it may be monopodially branched in other gymnosperms. For example, Pinus, Cedrus. Leaves in gymnosperms are dimorphic, that is, they are of two types: 1. Foliage leaves and 2. Scale leaves. Foliage leaves are variously shaped. They may be large and pinnately compound in cycads, simple needle-like in many conifers, small and flat in Araucaria, scale-like in Thuja and Ephedra, fan-shaped in Ginkgo, flat and pinnate in Netum, and very large in Welwitschia. Vascular stand is monozylic in cycads and pycnozylic in conifers. Tracheids are the conducting part of xylem, as vessels are absent in gymnosperms except in netum and its relatives. Likewise, phloem lacks companion cells. The reproductive organs occur in the form of strobili or cones in gymnosperms. These cones or strobili may be monosporangiate, that is, they may be male cones or female cones. The cones are aggregates of sporophylls which bear spore-producing sporangia. Classification of gymnosperms. Gymnosperms include a number of fossil and living forms. They include the primitive members of the seed-bearing plants or spermatophyta and form a link between the pteridophyta on the one hand and the angiosperms on the other. Various attempts have been made by different workers to classify gymnosperms. One of the earliest attempts to classify gymnosperms was made by Bentham and Hooker. They divided seed-bearing plants into dicots, gymnosperms, and monocots. Gymnosperms were further divided into three families: 1. Cycadaceae, 2. Neetaceae, and 3. Coniferae. Engler in 1885 divided gymnosperms into 7 groups, namely 1. Cycadophylicales, 2. Cycadales, 3. Bennettitales, 4. Cordiatales, 5. Jingoales, 6. Coniferales, and 7. Neetales. Coulter and Chamberlain in 1917 adopted Engler's system with slight modifications and divided gymnosperms into 7 orders, namely 1. Cycadophylicales, 2. Cycadales, 3. Bennettitales, 4. Cordiatales, 5. Coniferales, 6. Jingoales, and 7. Neetales. They further divided order Coniferales into 2 families, Pinaceae and Taxaceae. Pinaceae was further divided into 4 subfamilies, namely 1. Abitynae, 2. Taxodynae, 3. Cupricinae, and 4. Aracorinae. And the second family, that is Taxaceae, was divided into 2 subfamilies, 1. Taxinae and 2. Podocarpinae. Depending upon the composition of wood, Seward in 1919 divided gymnosperms into 2 classes. 1. Monozylic gymnosperms. These gymnosperms have loose textured and porous wood. And second class, pycnozylic gymnosperms having compact wood. Orders Cycadales, Cycadioidales, and Cycadophylicales were included in the monozylic group, whereas pycnozylic group included the orders Cordiatales, Jingoales, Coniferales, and Neetales. Professor Birbal Sahani in 1920 classified gymnosperms into 2 divisions, depending upon the axial or foliar origin of the ovules. These divisions are 1. Stachyspermy, in which the ovules arise on the axial organs. And division 2, phylospermy. These are the gymnosperms in which the ovules are born on leaves. Professor Sahani divided stachyspermy further into 4 orders: 1. Coriatales, 2. Coniferales, 3. Gingoales, and 4. Nitales, and created 3 orders out of phylospermy, namely 1. Cycadophylicales, 2. Benititales, and 3. Cycadales. Gymnosperms were divided directly into 7 orders that were arranged in the increasing order of complexity in their reproductive features by Engler and Gilg in 1926. These orders are 1. Cycadophylicales, 2. Coriatales, 3. Cycadales, 4. Benititales, 5. Gingoales, 6. Coniferales, and 7. Nitales. Arnold in 1948 pointed out that the name gymnosperms has got no taxonomic status and can be retained for the sake of convenience only. He gave a new shape to the classification of vascular plants. He divided gymnosperms into 3 phyla: 1. Cycadophyta, 2. Coniferophyta, and 3. Chlamydospermophyta. Cycadophyta was further divided into 3 orders: 1. Pteridospermales, 2. Cycadioidales, and 3. Cycadales. Phylum Coniferophyta was divided into 4 orders, namely 1. Coriatales, 2. Gingoales, 3. Taxales, and 4. Coniferales. And the third phylum, that is Chlamydospermophyta, was divided into 2 orders: 1. Ephedrales, and 2. Nitales. Making full use of all the available evidences, an elaborate and broad-based classification of gymnosperms was proposed by Pant in 1957. He divided gymnosperms into 3 divisions: 1. Cycadophyta, 2. Chlamydospermophyta, and 3. Coniferophyta. Cycadophyta was divided into 4 classes, namely Pteridospermopsida, Cycadopsida, Pentozylopsida, Cycadioidopsida. Division 2nd, that is Chlamydospermophyta, was divided into a single class, Nitopsida, with 2 orders, Nitales and Velvetshales. The third division, that is Coniferophyta, was divided into 4 classes: 1. Coniferopsida, 2. Ephedropsida, 3. Zachanowskyopsida, and 4. Taxopsida. Lehman Benson in 1957 divided living gymnosperms into 4 classes: 1. Conopsida, 2. Ephedropsida, 3. Nitopsida, and 4. Cycadopsida. Conopsida was further divided into 3 orders: 1. Gingoales, 2. Pineales, and 3. Taxales. Ephedropsida was divided into a single order, Ephedrales. Class Nitopsida was divided into 2 orders, Nitales and Velvetshales, while as the class Cycadopsida includes a single order, Cycadales. Andrews in 1961 divided gymnosperms into 6 divisions and 9 orders. Division 1, Pteridospermophyta, having a single order, Pteridospermales. Division 2, Cycadophyta, having 2 orders, Cycadales and Benititales. Division 3, Ginkgophyta, having a single order, Gingoales. Division 4, Coniferophyta, having 2 orders, Coniferales and Coriatales. Division 5, Gnetophyta, bearing a single order, Gnetales. And Division 6, Gymnosperms of uncertain position, having 2 orders, Pentoxylales and Vagnoscales. K.R. Spurn has not given his own classification. He followed the classification system proposed in 1954 by Pelger and Melchior. Hence, Spurn in 1965 classified gymnosperms into 3 main classes: 1. Cycadopsida, 2. Coniferopsida, and 3. Gnetopsida. He divided Cycadopsida into 4 orders: 1. Pteridospermales, 2. Benititales, 3. Pentoxylales, and 4. Cycadales. Coniferopsida was also divided into 4 orders: 1. Coriatales, 2. Coniferales, 3. Taxales, and 4. Gingoales. Gnetopsida had only 1 order, that is, Gnetales. These orders were further divided into a total of 30 families. Takhtajan, Cronquist and Zimmermann in 1966 proposed a different classification in which they included the gymnosperms into a separate division called Pinophyta. This was further divided into 3 subdivisions: 1. Cycadici, 2. Pinici, and 3. Gnetici. Cycadici was further divided into 3 classes, namely Lygonopteridata, 2. Cycadata, and 3. Benititata. The subdivision Pinici was divided into 2 classes, Gingoata and Pinata, while as the third subdivision, that is Gnetici, was divided into a single class, Gnetata, and 3 subclasses: 1. Ephedridae, 2. Velvetscheidae, and 3. Gnetidae. In 1971, David Bierhorst proposed a classification in which he divided gymnosperms into 3 classes: 1. Cycadopsida, 2. Coniferopsida, and 3. Gnetopsida. Cycadopsida was further divided into 5 orders, namely 1. Pteridospermales, 2. Catoniales, 3. Cycadioidales, 4. Pentoxylales, and 5. Glossopteridales. Coniferopsida was also divided into 5 orders: 1. Coriatales, 2. Protopetales, 3. Gingoales, 4. Coniferales, and 5. Taxales. While as the last class, that is Gnetopsida, included 3 orders: 1. Ephedrales, 2. Gnetales, and 3. Velvetschales. Taylor in 1981 divided gymnosperms into 6 divisions, namely 1. Progymnospermophyta, 2. Pteridospermophyta, 3. Cycadophyta, 4. Cycadioidophyta, 5. Gingophyta, and 6. Coniferophyta. Pteridospermophyta was further divided into 7 orders. 1. Lygonopteridales, 2. Medullosales, 3. Calistophytales, 4. Calomopetiales, 5. Coriostospermales, 6. Peltospermales, and 7. Glossopteridales. The division Coniferophyta was divided into 2 classes, 1. Choriatopsida and 2. Coniferopsida. Choriatopsida included a single order, Voltziales, while as class Coniferopsida included 2 orders, that is Coniferales and Taxales. Stewart in 1983 proposed a classification of division Tracheophyta. His classification is based on fossil evidence. He divided Tracheophyta into 3 classes, 1. Progymnospermopsida, 2. Gymnospermopsida, and 3. Nitopsida. Progymnospermopsida included 3 orders. Gymnospermopsida included 12 orders, and Nitopsida was divided into 3 orders. The most recent system of classification for gymnosperms is that proposed by Christenhusz et al. In 2011. Christenhusz et al. Divided the extant gymnosperms into 4 subclasses, 1. Cycadidae, 2. Gingoidae, 3. Nitidae, and 4. Painidae. Cycadidae include a single order, Cycadales, and 2 families, 1. Cycadaceae and 2. Zamiaceae. Gingoidae is a monotypic subclass having a single order, Gingoales, and a single family, Gingoaceae. Nitidae includes 3 orders, 1. Velvet shales, 2. Nitales, and 3. Ephedrales. All these 3 orders are monotypic, having just a single family each, that is Velvetiaceae, Nitaceae, and Ephedraceae respectively. Painidae was further divided into 3 orders, namely 1. Pineales, 2. Aracoriales, and 3. Cupricales. Order Pineales had a single family Pinaceae, while as order Aracoriales had 2 families, 1. Aracoriaceae and 2. Podocarpaceae. Order Cupricales was divided into 3 families, 1. Shadopitiaceae, 2. Cupricaceae, and 3. Taxaceae. Okay, dear students, that is all about the topic general account of gymnosperms. To conclude, I would like to refresh what you learned during the course of present lecture. We understood what are gymnosperms and what are the diagnostic morphological characters of gymnosperms. We understood who were the pioneers in classifying gymnosperms and how different morphologists classified gymnosperms. We also came to know various classification schemes proposed by different taxonomists. Thank you.